Hello, I'm Mary Catherine.
I'm Grace, and welcome back to the Clover Cast,
a newscast for 4-H youth in Kenosha County,
made by 4-H youth in Kenosha County. Hey there, Kenosha County. Welcome back to the Clover Cast.
Not much is going on throughout the county, but we want to remind you that even though things are different, 4-H is all around us.
And since Thanksgiving is coming soon, we thought we'd highlight one of the projects that 4-H includes, the Food Project.
Yep, we each have a delicious recipe to show you so we can demonstrate how thankful we are for our 4-H community.
And welcome to a new segment called The Clover Kitchen. Today I'll be showing you guys how to make thumbprint cookies. If you'd like to try out this recipe, check out the description below for more details. Now without further ado, let's get started. So what you're going to need for this recipe is 1 cup of butter softened, 3/4 cups of granulated sugar, 2 egg yolks, 1½ teaspoons of vanilla and ½ teaspoon of salt, 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and ½ cup of any jam. Today I'll be using strawberry. So the very first thing I'm going to do is wash my hands and pull my hair back. Now that I've got that done, I'm going to preheat my oven to 350 degrees. Now that my oven is preheating, I'm going to go ahead and use my stand mixer to beat my sugar and butter. For making cookies, I'm going to be using this attachment. Now that my sugar and butter are nice and fluffy, I'm going to go ahead and add my vanilla, egg yolks, and salt. But first, I need to separate the yolks of my eggs from the whites. As I do this, I'm going to be very careful to not get any eggshells with my yolks. Now I'm going to mix that all up until combined. Next, I'm going to add my flour and mix until combined. In small increments so that it doesn't fly everywhere when I turn on my mixer. My dough is all ready now, so now I'm just going to roll it up and place it on my cookie sheets. Before I start rolling my dough, I'm going to tidy up my workspace just a little so that I don't have to clean up the whole mess when I'm finished. I'm going to line my cookie sheets with parchment paper so that they don't get as dirty and the cookies don't stick quite as much. If you don't have parchment paper, you can use tin foil or just the pan itself. Since these cookies don't have baking powder or baking soda, they shouldn't spread too much, but I'm still going to be careful to spread them out just a little. Now that I have my 2 pans filled up, it's time for the fun part. You get to take your thumb or a spoon and make indents in each of your cookies where you're going to put the jam before you bake them. Now they're all smushed, they got their little indents, and they should look a little something like this. So now I'm going to go ahead, take some of my strawberry jam and put it into a bag and then pipe it in to the little indents like frosting. But since not all of my family members are huge fans of jam, I'm going to leave a couple of my cookies plain. And you can totally do that if you prefer. So to fill up my bag with jam, I'm going to open it up and slide it inside of a cup and then spoon in some jam. And then I'll cut off the corner of the bag and use it like a piping bag. I said, I'm using strawberry jam, but you can use whatever kind of jam you prefer. Or you can also do a variety of jams. If you want, 5 different kinds of cookies, you can totally do that. It is totally up to your own imagination and creativity. So now just snip this corner off and pipe them into the bag. Now that all of my cookies are filled, all that's left to do is pop them in the oven for about 15 minutes. So here's how my cookies turned out. I took them out of the oven very carefully and let them cool, and now they are the perfect treat for Thanksgiving.
Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to make a quick and delicious fudge. Like before, if you want to follow along with the recipe, you can find it in the description. Okay, who's ready to make some fudge? So the first thing we have to do is we have to get our 8" by 8" pan, and we are going to use some butter to gently line it. So this is going to help make sure that our fudge does not stick to the side of the pan. Alright, and so while that continues to kind of soften a little bit, we are going to get our pan out, or pot out, I should say, and we are going to turn the heat on low. We're going to kind of warm it up a little bit while we get our chocolate ready. Ooh, okay. So, you are going to need about 12 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chips. So this is a 24-ounce bag, so I'm going to need about half of this bag. And then you're also going to need some butterscotch chips. And you're going to need about 9 ounces of those. And this is a 12-ounce bag, and so I have to need about 3 chips of those. So I'm going to do my butterscotch chips first. And so again, it's about 3/4 of this bag. Okay, that looks about good. And then when those start to soften, I'm going to get a little bit of a spatula. And we're going to start to stir those. And if you look over here, they're already starting to melt. Moving quick. All right. So while we have those going, we need to add about half of this bag. Okay? And again, we're just going to give this a bit of a stir. And as you can see, they're starting to melt. The process is moving quite quick here. And those are just going to keep melting for us for a minute. Okay, so as you know, we have our chocolate and our butterscotch melting. So we also need to add 1 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk to this. Okay, so we're going to put this to the side, and we're going to stir a little bit more. The best thing about this recipe is how fast and how little time it takes to make it, and it's so delicious too. When I say quick and delicious, I mean it. I love this fudge. Okay, so we just added our sweetened condensed milk, and we're just stirring, and I turned the heat up a little bit, so it's still a relatively low heat, but it's a little bit warmer. today we're just going to be making a plain fudge. But the great thing about this recipe is that you can add anything you want. If you want to add walnuts, go for it. If you want to add almonds, go for it. You know, sprinkles, I don't know, go for it. And whatever you add, it's going to be good. I mean, unless you add like anchovies, because then that will not be good. But and I'm gonna grab my sweetened condensed milk because I think it's a little bit more. Okay, so see how this is mostly melted? Look at that. And again, we're on a nice low heat, so the chocolate doesn't burn. Okay, so now that our chocolate has melted, the next thing we are going to do is we are going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract to this. And at this point, we are going to turn our heat off. Okay, so now that is all of our ingredients. And look at it, it's nice and melted. That looks awesome. So, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to pour this into our pan. Next thing we're gonna do, we're just gonna smooth this out a little bit. Yep. Now, sometimes I'm a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to this, but it does not have to be perfect. And so I'm just gonna try to even it out so we have nice even pieces for later. And it's going to have to set in the fridge, but right now, we're gonna give it a minute because it's still really hot. And so just after a minute, once it cools down, we will put it in the fridge. And it's gonna chill until it's firm. So because this is so thick, it might be like an hour for it to be really that normal fudge thickness. And then you can cut your pieces and enjoy your homemade fudge.
Yum, those look delicious, Mary Catherine.
Thanks, Grace. Your cookies look amazing too. Thanks for joining in for another Clovercast.
Don't forget to enroll at KenoshaCounty4H.org. And if you have any 4-H related questions, be sure to contact us at the email address in the description down below. I'm Grace.
And I'm Mary Catherine.
And this has been the Clovercast.
Have a happy Thanksgiving, Kenosha County.